So I'm at the park right now reading this book. It's Working the Roots Over 400 Years of Traditional African American Healing. This is something I've talked about a lot on all of my pages just because I absolutely love this book. And if you're not familiar with me and my herbal journey and learning herbalism, reading is one of the major ways that I've picked up a lot of my information and knowledge and how I kind of just like refresh my herbal knowledge. So I'm at the park today and this book is pretty dense and I'm taking my time reading it all the way through. I don't want to just rush through it, and I really like it because the first half of the book is really just a whole bunch of stories. It's basically Michele E. Lee going throughout the Deep South and connecting with relatives or people that her relatives or people she knows has connections with, and basically just allowing them to speak their stories and talk about their lives, and within that how herbalism sort of like lived within their communities, lived within their traditions and their culture. And it's just really cool, and I feel like one of the reasons why I prefer to learn herbalism through reading versus online and the internet and courses is, one, because I specifically am interested in African American herbalism. I feel like African American herbalism is something that is not recognized or given any type of space when it comes to Black culture and its importance and its existence within the Black community, at least on a historical level, like a public historical level. Because honestly, thinking back to all of my history readings in school, I mean, we all know that history books don't do the Black community justice or even slavery justice or quite literally anything that surrounds Black bodies justice. But I not once, I think, ever saw any mention of herbalism or how the slave caste took care of themselves and how the Black community, as they were building themselves up post-slavery, even managed to essentially survive and exist and learn how to heal themselves in a community and a society that wanted nothing more than for them to fail. And so I think that's why reading has been so important to me, and specifically reading books like this, because one, it gives me a perspective that I quite literally would have never known if it weren't for this book, and I get to learn about stories of people I would have never known existed, and I feel like it adds so much context to my own herbal journey because I'm someone who doesn't come from, I would argue that I'm someone who doesn't come from a conscious line of healers, and I say that in the sense that if I look at my parents and I look at their family, they're all within like the church and ministry, and so just speaking through that, I know that there's a level of healing and a level of service that a lot of my relatives and a lot of my family line has simply dedicated their life to, but not in the sense of herbalism or spirituality outside of the church. And so for someone like me who has no context and no one to look towards or to reference in my own journey and my own lineage, I feel like it's imperative for me to be able to find this information and experience herbalism in a way that has been tangible for so many years and a tradition within so many families within the African American community and the Black community. I don't know if y'all heard that honking, but anyways, yeah, and I feel like it's just insane because every time I pick up this book, all I can think about is how much we don't know and how much we may never know and how much has just simply been destroyed as, you know, society continues to build itself up and explore different avenues such as Western medicine, and how we've become so reliant on, honestly, like a system that really just wants to see us sick. I'm honestly in no way trying to bash Western medicine because in a lot of ways Western medicine is why we get to live so long, and there's a lot of people who get to see life and experience life through Western medicine, and so in no way am I saying that it's a complete evil, but I think anyone can recognize that Western medicine is heavily rooted in capitalism and commodifying our bodies for its own profit. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm just so grateful that I am able to receive this information through books, and if anyone else is on a spiritual journey or interested in herbalism, specifically African American herbalism, I feel like the best thing that you could do for yourself is find books that come from a perspective of not only a Black American, but a perspective outside of academia. I think all I'm trying to say is there's so much heart that goes into herbal medicine, in it being such a healing practice, and for a lot of people, a way of survival. I think it's just really sad that this is something within Black history that is often overlooked and not spoken about. And I don't know, I feel like it's hard for me because I would want to be someone who is able to pass down this information to the generations to come and someone who can provide that healing, but I feel like I'm like already behind, you know? Like, I don't have a family line that taught me this information. This book is just so heavy to me because on one hand, I'm so grateful for learning this knowledge, but on the other hand, it's just like so much of this will be lost, and it's important. Like, it's important to hear that our community used to grow most of their crops and would find and live off the land and live off of healing herbs and all of the different concoctions that they use to stay healthy and to stay safe, and learn about all the people who grew up never going to the doctor and, you know, essentially providing their own health care. I guess I just wish that this was public knowledge and not such a niche topic that I have to go out of my way to learn about and to research. And I feel like I already know the answer to this as well, but I just find it interesting that in most of the courses that I've taken about herbalism, or just within the world of herbalism itself, I feel like there's always a strong emphasis on traditional Chinese medicine and an emphasis on Ayurvedic practices, but very rarely do I ever get to see African and African American herbalism spoken about and used with the same respect, validity, and emphasis. Like, and I feel like I already know why that occurs, you know? I feel like the answer to that one is easy, but it's insane. I remember the first course I took on herbalism, it was like, there was like a chapter, I think the first part of the book really went through the different sectors within herbalism, and they took their time talking about Chinese traditional medicine, and they took their time talking about Ayurvedic medicine, and the only time that they mentioned African medicine was in this small paragraph where they basically stated that there was proof of herbalism because of like the papyrus scrolls from Egypt, which alluded to the idea of afrocentric herbalism and herbalism within the African community. I took that course a long time ago, but I remember reading that and it rubbed me the wrong way, and I literally almost didn't even go through with the course because of that. It's so frustrating. Yeah, I remember even in my course, like, they didn't even acknowledge African herbalism, and let alone African American herbalism. And I think that's crazy. And it's just so unfortunate because this is the narrative that has been pushed. And by this point, even as people are trying to actively reclaim herbalism and reclaim that as something that was very well, that exists so vastly within Afrocentric culture and African American culture. I don't even know what I'm saying. I keep losing my train of thought. these dudes were like fighting over there. Someone got punched in the face, and the other dude kind of just like walked away, and he was walking away. The other dude was like hella pissed, and he got in his car and like followed him. And then I saw them run across the street, but I think the other guy got away. I don't know, I was low-key rooting for the guy that got away. He seemed pretty chill. Yeah, I don't know, it's just frustrating because it makes me think about all of the knowledge and all of the information that is gone, and a lot of the ways we're never getting that back. Like, we're never gonna get that context back. Like, all we truly have is what's either shown to us or what we've gone out of our way to research and find, and even that is only just like fragments of the bigger picture and fragments of the story. And yeah, to hear how so many Black communities down south specifically and everywhere relied so heavily on herbalism and hoodoo and herbal practices just to survive in such an anti-Black society is insane. It's insane. And I feel like if people truly knew and recognized the power of spirituality, the power of love and community, and the power of herbs, it would be talked about and it wouldn't be this weird taboo. And just to close this out, I guess all I really want to allude today is we don't know what we don't know, and there is so much we don't know that has been lost already, and so much we don't know that is hidden from us. And I think that's why it's so beautiful that there are people like Michele E. Lee that dedicated their life to illuminating what they could and shedding light on these people's lives and her family. And I just think it's really great that people have been put in that position and given that mission to do so. And I don't know, I'm not gonna put anything on myself about what I want to do in my lifetime and what my mission is, because I'm definitely still figuring that out. But I really hope that, I don't know, I do know that I want my life to be purposeful and impactful in whatever way that may develop. And so yeah, I don't know, I feel like it just reignites my love for herbalism when I read books like these, and it reignites my passion, and it's just like a reminder as to why I got into herbalism in the first place and how important it is. I think a part of me is also just kind of jealous, honestly, that there are people that come from families where it was centered in their lives and they were born into families that place value in things like this, because I'm not gonna say my family doesn't, but it's definitely something that I ever knew about until I came across it, if that makes sense. And so I feel like it also ignites this like yearning within me to really fall in love and be a part of this world and be able to live a life that is shaped by herbalism and is shaped by these practices. Whatever it looks like, whatever my future looks like, I hope that I can impact those around me that are close to me and be someone that they could come to for this information and feel like they can trust it and see its validity and see that it's not just like an interest in something that's interesting to the online world and community, but something that is very real and something that is very tangible and useful and healing. Yeah, if you're someone who's interested in herbalism, if you're someone who is interested in spirituality or exists within the Black diaspora, I really feel like Black, Afrocentric, and African American herbalism is something to look into and read into, regardless of your interest level or involvement, because I think it's an important piece of our history and an element that was probably intentionally left out in a lot of ways. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say today. So until next time, happy healing.